Support for the Trailblazers.fm podcast comes from the Campaign for Black Male Achievement, a national membership network that reminds us there's no cavalry coming to save the day in our communities. We are the iconic leaders we've been waiting for, the curators of the change we're seeking to see. To learn more about the groundbreaking work of the Campaign for Black Male Achievement, visit tbpod.com/Black Male Achievement.
You're listening to the Trailblazers podcast, where we will explore the stories of successful Black professionals. Join us as we highlight the knowledge, resources, and tools of these accomplished trailblazers to help provide the know-how, confidence, and motivation you need to blaze your trail. And now, here's your host, Stephen Hart.
What's up, Blazer Nation? Listen up, got to say thanks to everyone that reached out last week and expressed enjoying my minisode. I'm always finding myself at that moment when the episode goes live, asking myself if I did the right thing or if I said the right thing. You know that feeling, right? Or that doubt creeps in. Anyhow, lots of confirmation that it was good. And a lot of people, one of my best friends, Andre Parntha, messaged me bright and early Monday and was like, yeah, I was getting hyped. And then before you know it, I'm getting pumped up and here comes the outro music. So here's what's up. It's summer and like Outback Steakhouse, we got no rules. It's just right. So today I thought to do Andre and several of you who have reached out to me some justice and expand on the concept that I laid down last week with Think Big, Aim High, Act Bold. But instead of me probably going for a round two, I thought maybe we'd share a couple clips. I went back in the archives to some of our really amazing early episodes to pull away some clips from some of our amazing past trailblazers that shared some things that I wished I knew when I was younger. And so shout out to Dre Baldwin. He actually said something to that end that actually inspired this episode's title. And I want you to check this out. Here's what he said.
Anything I wish I knew. I wish someone had told me what I tell young people all the time today, which is start investing in yourself as early as possible, meaning go and buy one book every month or every time you get paid, however often you're getting paid. Listen to this podcast, the YouTube videos, the blogs, all this free stuff that you can listen to people who have already done what you want to do. And the knowledge, their experiences are completely free or $10, $20. Like take as much advantage of this as you possibly can, because there's so much gold out there. No one has an excuse to be uninformed. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
So I loved Dre's reminder here that we're living in an information age, right? And as young folks, which includes all of us, right? I love to say that aging is mandatory. Growing old is optional. So you and I, no matter what your age is, right? We all need to start investing in ourselves as early as possible, which means right now. So to level that out though, I had to bring back one of my all-time favorite people on the pod, Mr. C. David Moody Jr., all the way from episode 11 in the archives. If you don't know David Moody, you should. He has been listed on Black Enterprise, the BE Top 100 list for the largest Black-run businesses. Every year, Black Enterprise showcases the top 100 businesses. David Moody has been listed. He and his company, he's a CEO and founder of his own construction company down in Atlanta. And they've been featured on this list for 13, 14, 15 years or something like that straight, right? And so amazing guy, tons of wisdom, terrific interview worth going back and listening to. If you do, disclaimer, just ignore my rookie interview skills back then. This is one of the first amazing trailblazers to say, you know what, I don't know you, but I'm going to give you a shot on this new platform and share my story and my journey and my wisdom with your audience. And I loved so much of that discussion with David. But here's some mission fuel that I wish I knew when I was younger. Check this out.
Okay, just a couple things. One, I thought I was going to have an architectural firm, but I learned pretty early when I was working for Bechtel, I was just going to be an average architect. but I realized I could be a great builder because of the love I had for it. I could take my architectural knowledge, transfer it into construction. And I think one of the biggest things we have to be honest with ourselves, what we are really good at doing, what we will do well. And I'm sure people have heard this often, what you would get out of bed to do even if you weren't getting paid.
So you need a passion.
Yeah, it's a passion, but also a realistic view of what you are good at doing. I mean, that's like, I wanted to be a singer. You know, I wanted to be a Broadway singer because I was in some plays in high school. Well, I'm not that good.
Right.
So I could chase a dream that, you know, I could have the most incredible passion, but you do have to be real,
talented and skilled.
And you got to be real about what you are really good at, because all of us are good at something that could take us to another level. We got to find what that is, and only we can find that.
Yes. Thanks for that awesome reminder, Sir Moody. Keeping us back in the early archives, I wanted to bring back some wisdom from another amazing brother, Dr. Jason Carthen. Jason is a former NFL player who pivoted in his walk. He got injured and became a doctor. He got his PhD, turned into an international speaker and coach and author and so much more. And I love so many parts of this interview that I had to have Mike do a remix of several clips. I think there are like 4 clips from this episode that I wanted to share with you on some of the things I wish I knew, and even some of them that we all know today. But I still think it doesn't hurt to get that reminder and to have that confirmation. So I want you to check this out.
Everything was still there, you know, just because I took off the helmet, I took off the shoulder pads. And my reality is that same discipline, that same drive, that will to compete, you know, much like you probably have, you know, it's still there. And so I just channeled it. You know, I like to liken it to a wheel. So you have the center where I'm at, and then all the little spokes that come off of that wheel really point to different things that I have a passion for, and things that really are going to point to a legacy long after I'm gone. You know, I put things in place that will allow people to really benefit from my life after I'm gone. And that's the end goal, whether it's scholarships through philanthropy, whether it's programs, mentoring programs, foundation, whatever it may be. You know, or even my trainings and the products that I create, you know, my books. I want that stuff to live in perpetuity long after I'm gone, and people will realize, wow, who was that guy? And it's like, he was a guy that, you know, really had a heart for people. And that's really why I do what I do, and really work tirelessly at it. You know, I love what I do. I really do. First of all, leverage technology. And what I mean by that, I mean what we're doing right now, whether it's creating the newest course, online course that I create, or whether or not it's leveraging goal setting tools and materials, leveraging Evernote or email systems, or you know, people can now text to engage me and engage becoming a part of my mailing list, different things like that. It's really just leveraging things, but going back to what we talked about at the top of the show, being very intentional with boundaries and knowing that I have some long-term goals and I have some short-term goals. And it's just like I tell my coaching clients, you have to develop the intermediary goals or the short-term goals, or else you're not going to get to the big, hairy, audacious goals. That's not, it's not going to happen. And so I take my own advice and just very intentional with that. And if there was one nugget that I would share with people, make sure you're leveraging technology to really work in a fashion that's very clean and efficient, but also working in a fashion that will allow you to have the greatest return, whether you're monetizing your products or creating products or whatever it may be, sharpening your own sword as you get better. You know, it's just really being intentional with it, setting goals, and making sure you're working on those intermediary steps and goals to get there. 2 things immediately: get in touch with yourself. And now that may sound, I don't know, coy, whatever, but what I'm trying to say to you very clearly, I'll just remove all the barriers. If you don't know you, then you're not going to be able to pivot to anything. All you're going to do is keep turning in circles. You have to understand who you are, become very disciplined with self-reflection. Okay. Whether you're a leader or a follower or direct line staff or C-suite executive, you have to do the work to understand what makes Steven tick. Okay. makes Jason tick. If you don't do that, then you're going to fall for that check the box syndrome that I like to talk about. You're just going to go through the motions and think, well, this is what I should do. This is what I heard other entrepreneurs or business owners do when they have to pivot or if they want to go after a goal. When in reality, that may not be your thing. The only way you're going to be able to figure that out is to do the hard work, really self-assess, or bring somebody else in to help you assess. I tell my coaching clients that if you don't have someone with a different pair of eyes, then you're going to keep seeing the same stuff and you can't get out of your own mess or get out of your own way. So that's the first thing. Really do the work and engage in some self-reflection and then chart a new course based upon what you find out. Second thing, really live your life with passionate intention. What I mean by that is what I talked about earlier. Many of us will roll out of the bed, our feet will hit the floor, and we just kind of go through the motions. When you roll out of bed, you need to know what your purpose is and have a passion to carry it out. You're not going to let your babies get in the way. You're not going to let your bride get in the way. You're going to do all the things you need to do because when you follow your purpose and develop a passion for it, they're going to benefit from that. And everyone that you come into contact with is going to benefit from that. But it's when we're wishy-washy and we're just kind of roll out of bed and we let life happen to us that really we miss the mark. And then we wake up later in life, Stephen, and we're bitter. That's the root of bitterness. There's a feeling of, you know what, maybe I'll have an affair because I'm not happy with my life, or maybe my wife doesn't get me, so I'm going to be upset, or maybe she's saying the same thing. He doesn't pay attention to me, or your kids are saying, well, daddy's always in there talking on the microphone, so I can do what I want. I'm going to tear up something, whatever it may be. When at the end of the day, if you're living your life with passionate intention, you know who you are, and you're walking this thing out, then really it opens the door for so many possibilities. Make sure you're doing 4 things in this lifetime. We talked about a lot today, but really the 4 foundations of success that I have really come to rely upon. And for those that are listening to me right now, you must understand your purpose. Okay. Once you understand your purpose, Stephen, there's really nothing that can stand in your way. You're always working towards it. You're working on it. You have passion and you have intention that is really cannot be stopped at that point. It can't be stopped. The second component is that passion piece that I keep talking about. When you are released to operate in your purpose, then you can live with passionate intention. Nothing is going to put out that fire that is burning. When you have that purpose, you have that passion. Now it's time to be persistent. Because you're going to have dream assassins that are lying in wait. They're trying to figure out, why is Stephen doing this? And I want to knock him off his game because I wasn't able to do this thing. So I want to let you know that you're going to have to be persistent because people are going to try and derail you. You're going to engage in some negative self-talk. You're going to even potentially derail yourself. So just be persistent and know that's very important. The last point that I just want to share, partnership. It's guys like you that invite me on the show that bless me, and it really shows and demonstrates partnership to share a message with your listeners to really let them understand that there is another way to do things. And if you stay connected with Stephen, you'll see that way to do things. You'll be able to maximize who you are, maximize your influence, and really live a life that you are called to live.
So I just love Jason's reminders in those clips to find our passion, to leverage technology and the resources around us and the tools around us that help us to get the greatest return on the time and the monetary investments that we're making. And Jason also encouraged us to know ourselves, right? And to begin living with passionate intention. I just love all of that and find it so applicable to last week's message, right? To think big and to aim high, there's got to be deliberate intent in what we're doing. So we started with Dre Baldwin, and I thought we'd also end with Dre. Dre, by the way, is our episode 52 guest. Jason was our episode 17, and David was episode 11, right? But with Dre's actually a professional basketball player, by the way, who exemplifies the definition of mental toughness. And throughout Dre's life, he has just kept showing up and, kept balling out, no pun intended. An absolutely awesome interview to go back and check out. But here's a couple practical nuggets of wisdom from Dre to build on what Jason just shared a couple seconds ago. Where do you begin, as you would say, to work on our game?
Okay, number one thing is we have to find out what is the message this person is sharing. What is the value that you're bringing to the marketplace that's not already there? Because there needs to be a void being filled. What need are you taking care of? So the first question is, what is your message about? Because when you're clear on what your message is about, usually it's something that, number one, you care about because you have some experience in it. You have some passion about it. Number two, you have some experience. As I just said, you've been in it. You've been doing it for some time because it's your expertise. You probably have to have been doing it. And number three, you know a lot about this topic because that's the only way you're going to get passionate. And if you do something long enough, even if you hate it, you're going to know a lot of stuff about it. So now once you're clear on what that topic is, now you need to sit down and brainstorm. You need to take everything out of your brain that you know about that topic and get it down on paper. Put it in Evernote, write it down by hand if that's what you like to do. Whatever way you like to take notes, write down every single thing you know about that topic. And what I'm explaining to you here is the exact process that I used to start that 5,000 videos that I have on YouTube. I said to myself, listen, I'm going to the gym every day. I go to the gym every day, even when I didn't own a camera. But now that I'm here on YouTube and I can start to build maybe an audience doing this, let me just write down every single thing that I've ever done to work on my game in basketball. And I mean, every single thing. And now every day I'm going to go in the gym, I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to record at least one of them every single day. And I'm not talking a 30-minute production with a 2-day back-end editing. I'm talking 30-second to 2-minute videos with very little editing done on free software that comes with your computer and then uploading it straight to YouTube. That's how I started. Now you can take that same idea, whatever you recorded on video, now write it down. Now you have a blog post. Now you can take that same idea and explain it audio-wise. Now you have a podcast.
Right.
And now you can take 100 of those videos that you wrote out. Now you have a book. Well, anyone who wants to rise ahead in 2017, the coming year, you need to start today. You need to get a jump start because anyone who decides on January 1st, now I'm going to work harder. Now I'm going to start building this business. Now I'm going to fill in the blank. Whatever it is that people come up with, they're going to do in the new year. If you wait till January 1st, you're already losing a race because you're running with all the regular people. You're running with all the people who are in the middle of the pack. And you don't want to be caught in the middle of the pack because even if you win the race, only people you beat are the normal, the average people. You got to start now. You got to start ahead of the pack. So when January 1st hits, you already have your feet moving. You're already sprinting on the treadmill while everybody else is walking and getting themselves warmed up.
So I love that reminder by Dre to figure out all the value that you're able to bring to the people who you want to serve, right? We'll all get what we want out of life if we can help enough other people do the same. So we've got to take action, helping folks to solve real problems. I've explained that to my 8-year-old now. Layla just celebrated her birthday last week. Probably been teaching her that from she's 5 years old. Our goal as employees, as entrepreneurs, is to understand that, right? Our purpose in life is to bring value to other people, to solve problems, right? And that last clip was perfect. To act bold and put execution over our excuses, we must start today. Stop telling yourself when January 1st of next year comes, you're going to lose 10 pounds, or you're going to start this idea that you have or business that you would like to get going, or whatever it is that you're going to do at a future date. Hate if this sounds negative, but it's the truth. We aren't guaranteed to have our lives finished today. People say, we're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised the rest of today. Every minute we have above ground is a gift, and that's why they call it the present. So stop putting off for tomorrow what we can blaze today. Hope you guys have an amazing week. God bless you. And I'll look forward to sharing some more amazing stuff with you next week in this summer series. Cheers. Well, that's it for today. Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Trailblazers podcast. I'll be posting links to all of today's book recommendations and links mentioned on our show notes page at tbpod.com. trailblazerspodcast.com. If today was your first time listening to the Trailblazers podcast, I just want to extend a warm Trailblazers welcome to you. We're so happy to have you here, and we encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button in your favorite podcast app. Go ahead and browse through some of our past episodes to keep the knowledge flowing. If you're a fan of the podcast and today's content, and you're maybe already subscribed to the podcast, please continue to share and invite your friends, your family, your colleagues to listen to an episode that you think might impact them most. We believe that someone listening to these inspiring stories will be moved to make significant changes that will have generational impact for many others, both now and well into the future. Don't miss next week's episode. New episodes are released each and every Monday by about 5 a.m. Eastern. Trailblazers, jump off this podcast today. Go find a way to rise above, go way beyond, and keep blazing your trail. Cheers.